Horn, bringing you Live with Lloyd, where the joy of numerology is the joy of learning and enlightenment. Thank you. Welcome for another edition. I'm trying to get the hang of this. I think things are going to get a little smoother as I get into the rhythm of it. But I want to say thank you for those that are joining me, and thank you for those that will be logging on, and whatever the case is. But anyway, I'm going to get this between my assistants, Jackie and Jazz, between King Simon, and I'm going to have this down pretty good. But I think so far, so good. Anyway, let me tell you about the cosmic forecast. Right now, the sun is in the sign of Leo, okay? Also, the moon is in Pisces, but on Wednesday at 5:31, it goes into the cardinal sign of Aries until Friday. So Wednesday, when I come back, I'll tell you what's going on for the weekend. I try to solicit questions, or questions will be sent to me. And one of the questions that people ask me is, or one that says, well, is numerology and astrology superstition? And answers no. It's like I was explaining when I first started about religion. Do people think that this goes against the laws of God? But I have to explain to people that religion is a belief system where numerology and astrology are ancient African sciences, just that simple. So that's what I am seeing. But no, it's not superstitious. No, it's not. And it's if I gave somebody $1,000, believe me, well, let me put it like this. Numerology simply deals with the esoteric side of numbers. When a person goes to an accountant and get their taxes done, or whatever the case is, those numbers aren't superstitious. When a person goes to a doctor and they get their blood work or blood pressure or whatever, those numbers are not superstitious either, okay? So because I guess that you can't actually see numbers in the sense of numerology and astrology, nonetheless, they exist. And numerology is even more popular now than ever before, because now they'll tell you what, don't give out your social, don't give out your password, whatever the case is. Almost everything you do will have some association with a number that will give people access to your bank account or whatever the case is. So my bottom line is, if people think that numbers are superstitious, especially numerology, then I'd like to see what happens when you get your paycheck. I bet you if you get a check for $1,000, that's not superstitious. But I do understand, and because it's new to a lot of people, yet these sciences, these ancient African sciences, and that's exactly what they are, sciences, are so old that we kind of like are not familiar with them, but they're coming back into its own. And so that's one of the main things to take into consideration. So anyway, that was one of the questions. And so no is the answer to the question. Astrology and numerology are not superstition. Okay, there's nothing to be superstitious about. Although there is a superstition called triskaidekaphobia, which is called the fear of the 13th. So on Friday the 13th, and here in this country, that there are a lot of business offices or offices you go into that don't have a 13th floor. I've seen 12 go to 14. I've seen 12 go to 12A. There's only one building that has a 13, but it doesn't have a 10. And that's the Harlem State Office Building at 163 West 125th Street. If you go into that building and you go into the elevator, you will see a 13, but you will not see a 10. Well, that's for a whole nother reason, another time why that is. But anyway, the topic today is the power of your name. Shakespeare once had this saying, what's in a name? The response is everything. Your name, as I tell my students, and they know they could probably repeat it, chapter and verse, denote your talents, skills, gifts, and abilities. It indicates, so where your birthday, when we talked about on last Wednesday, was about why you're here, your destiny, your formative cycles taken from the month, the day, and the year you're born. Your name has the power to activate certain things within you. Your name indicates these natural gifts we're born with. Some of us discover them, some of us never do. But hopefully, if you follow this session that I'm doing, you will find that you have your own special gifts. It is how you determine it. Now, in numerology, there are two schools of thoughts. The first school I'm going to talk about today is the Pythagorean theory. Now, this is the one that goes from 1 to 9, okay? This is the one that can be easily seen. This is the one that, and when you, what it does, in fact, I have a, let me see what they call this. Okay, I'm getting this here together. And in fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the layout of it and what I'm talking about, okay? And this is it here. Now, what I want you to do, what I want each and every one of you to do is get a pen and paper and do your name. Now, what happens is Pythagoras, this system is known as modern numerology. The one that I'm going to be talking about on Wednesday is Chaldean or mystic numerology. One is modern, that's what you're going to learn or demonstrate today. And then the other is mystic, which is more older. The difference is this. The numbers go from 1 to 9 in Pythagoras, and they only go from 1 to 8 in Chaldean, all righty? There is a caveat with the Chaldean that they don't have with the Pythagorean. The Pythagoras theory says you must take your name given at birth. So let's say you got, in certain cultures, they may have 3 or 4 names. They may have their mothers, their grandmothers, you know what I'm saying, long names. And then they may drop it down to 1 or 2 names. But that is good if a baby is born right now and you give them the full name. But when I talk to people, which are primarily adults, okay, normally they are known by just their first and last name. But taking that into consideration, let's say we start a job tomorrow. I introduce myself by my first and last name. They will introduce themselves by their first and last name. Well, you know what we're doing by the end of the week? We're addressing each other by the first and the last name. So your first name is your active name. That's the name you're called. That's the name that distinguishes you from the rest of the Browns and the Jones and the Greens and the Strayhorns and the this and the that and the other, okay? So what you want to do is get a pen and paper, because I want to show you again. This is it right here, okay? As you see, the numbers are going from 1 to 9, all righty? And so underneath, you put the letters. A is under 1, B is under 2, C is under D, D is under 4, E is under 5, etc. Till you get to the first column, which is an I, which is the 9th position letter. Then J swings back over to 1, K is 2, etc. And then you see Z starts on the number 8. Well, for those that are familiar with the alphabet, the 26th letter or the last letter in the alphabet is Z. And if you notice, that's an 8. The reason why I like this is so easy to learn, so easy to grasp, okay? And what happens is you can also do it by association. So if you look at column number 9, you can think of Internal Revenue. Or if you look at column number 4, you can think of the Department of Motor Vehicles. Or if you look at column number 6, you can think of Fox, F-O-X. Or if you look at column 3, you have no clue where the E went, or it's C-L-U without the E. But the point is, it's easy to associate, it's easy to memorize. And the nice thing about it is, when you are, let's say you're at an event, at a social gathering and whatnot, and you're curious about doing someone's name. Well, even if you can't remember the alphabets, do this. You write the numbers out from 1 to 9, leave a little space, then A is under 1, B is under 2, C is under 3, until you get to the first row, the I, okay? Then you go to the second row where J is under 1, K is under 2, L is under 3. By the way, L is the 12th letter of the alphabet, so 1 plus 2 is 3. That's one of the things that makes this so easy to learn. So in my beginner's course, Learn from Lloyd, How to Read a Person Like a Book, this is what I focus on. Now, on my intermediate and advanced, I touch on the Chaldean system, all righty? So once you do that, then you're on your way. Also, when you're doing a name, be sure you know the exact spelling of the name. Names are spelled all kinds of ways. One of the names, for example, the name Catherine, is spelled 24 different ways. So don't assume, especially if you have an interest in this, you want to do this. Take your time, put in your first name. That's your active name. Later on, you can do your total name. You can do the name that was on your birth certificate, things like that. That's cool. But right now, we want to just keep it short, sweet, simple. There are 5 things that you should know. Well, a couple of things you should know. One of them, one of the questions is, who named you? Was it your mom, your dad, your grandmother, an auntie, an uncle, or grandfather? And why did they give you the name? All righty. So, and then the third thing is, what does the name mean? So in my case, Lloyd, I'm named after my dad. I'm his first child. So guess what? Okay, it was Lloyd Jr. All righty. That's how that is. Okay, so I know who named me, my dad. Why he named me? Because he wanted to name me after him. Now, you'll be surprised. There are gentlemen out here that are named the third, the fourth, the fifth. You know, I mean, just generations of names that are carried on. And more importantly, what does the name mean? I found that when I asked these 3 questions, who named you? Why did they name you? What does the name mean? You would be surprised what sense it gives you in terms of yourself. What was in the heads of those that passed this name on to you, gave it to you, and whatever the case is like that. All right. And by the way, the name Lloyd is an old Welsh name that means gray. Duh. Okay. But that's what it means. Of course, I can define it any way I want to. That is the beauty of what we do. So that's it there. So now what I want to do was I want to give you an illustration of a name. And that is, if you see, the first name I'm giving you is Sarah. Now, let me tell you about Sarah. Sarah is not yet 2 years old. She's a spiritual warrior. She's just went through a miraculous procedure up in Boston, Boston Hospital, Children's Hospital up in Boston. Okay. And her mom calls her a spiritual warrior, but if you knew the birthday, she's a Libra, you would understand why. So what I did was, you do your name. Now, these are names I'm giving you so you can see, but you should have a pen, you should have a paper, and put down your first name. So don't worry about Sarah and Jennifer. That's her mom. Ricardo, that's her father. Don't worry about them as such. This is to give you an illustration of what to look for. All right. So if you put your name down, okay, in this case, you see S is a 1, that's Sarah. Then A is a 1, put that under the A. Then R is a 9, put that under there. A is a 1. And then H is a 8. All together, it adds up to 20. And 2 plus 0 is 2. So the name Sarah, spelled this way. Actually, her name is Sarah Rosemary Kirkland Bentham. Okay. This is when supposedly you take the whole name at birth. So if they came to me with Sarah, who's my goddaughter, by the way, this is how you would do it. Eventually, Sarah will be Sarah Bentham, whatever the case is, or she may change her name, as many artists and actors and celebrities and personalities have done. You would be surprised, like I gave last week about Marshall Hall, who was Biz Markie, or Earl Simmons, who is DMX, okay? So then let's take a look at her mom, Jennifer. Okay, J is a 1, E is a 5, N of 5s, I is 9, F is 6, E is 5, R is 9. Take your time, ladies and gentlemen. This is not rushing. This is not how fast you can go. And in fact, when I teach this course, that is the first thing I tell you. Take your time, because people's names are spelled different. Then you may have somebody you meet that is superstitious, or you may meet somebody who is skeptical, or whatever the case is. But the point is, you want to meet the person who can, let me do this again. You want to meet the person and know them, and take your time by doing the name. Now, you should have your first name done by this time, hopefully, but we'll take Ricardo, her father, too. But let me finish up Jennifer a second. If you look at Jennifer, her name as the 45, 4 plus 5 is 9. Don't forget, in numerology, if you got 2 or more digits, you got to keep reducing till you only have 1 single digit. That's it. All righty. So then let's look at her dad, Ricardo. All righty. Ricardo, if you notice, he has nothing but 9s in his name. Okay, 9 is a leadership number. So I know this brother, whoever he is, don't take orders well. Sarah, his daughter, got it honest too, because she's got 1s and 9s. You'll learn as you begin to travel with me down the road, learning this and joining me with this, that 1s and 9s are your leadership numbers. They're born to lead. They're born to follow. There's no question about it. That's about the only thing they know how to do. And so therefore, if they didn't properly educate themselves, train themselves, they will go through frustrations of wanting to leave, but then again, having resistance and whatnot. Okay, so getting back, if you look at Ricardo's name, his name as the 41, 4 plus 1 is 5. This is how you do your name, ladies and gentlemen. So if any of you have done your name and you want to kind of let me know what it is, it'll be an honor and a pleasure to do it. Now, there is another part of the name too. And here's what I'm saying. Okay, now let's take this one for example. Now you got the Chaldean, the Pythagorean system right there. You see how the letters are. So for those of you, write your first name. I don't care whether it's Dolores or Jennifer or whatever the case is, Elizabeth. You want to take that name, transpose each letter into numbers. Now, here's the thing. We got two examples of how to read a name. Now, let's say we got people that are fours, okay? If you look at the name David, he has 3 4s in the name, plus the name adds up to 22, and 2 plus 2 is 4. For those that are into the master numbers in 11 and 22, that is not that kind of party right now, because I want to keep it simple. I want to do the essence of it. Here's the thing. This 4 is not a superficial 4. This 4 in this person's name is really sincere because they got many 4s to back them up. You will learn that 1 4 is the average in both a first and last name. Well, just in this first name alone, there are 3 4s. So this is a person. 4s tend to be different, misunderstood, secret enemies, brilliant geniuses, things of that nature. So now let's take another name, Lucille. Okay, if you look at it, notice all those 3s in the name. However, the name Lucille adds up to 29. 2 plus 9 is 11. That's another master number. Thank you. However, the goal is to keep it simple. 1 plus 1 equals 2. So the name David is a 4. Now, if you look at the name Lucille, her name adds up to a 2, but I don't see any 2s that made up her name. So therefore, when you're doing this, folks, what you want to do is make sure that if the total of that name adds up to it, you want to know, is that name being repeated in the background? Because the more that name is repeated in the background, the more it is considered what is called concentrated, okay? Whereby it just adds extra power, extra pizzazz to it, extra swagger, call it what you will. However, when you got a name that adds up to a 2 like this, to be honest, yes, I know it means people sensitive, whatever, but this woman, Lucille, may say, well, that don't sound too much like me at all. And they are absolutely correct in that sense, because if you look at the numbers that made up the name, you'll see not a single 2 was repeated in the name, but she's got a lot of 3s. And when you understand 1 3 is averaging a first and last name, and in this name alone, she's got 5 3s, guess what I'm going to read? I'm going to read those 3s as if that was the total of her name. This is one of the arts or secrets to reading a name. This is why I call it how to read a name, how to read a person like a book with their name. So this is very, very important that you understand this. Again, you just take the letters, go from 1 to 9. Okay, please do your name and everything like that. And you'll see that you two bring to the table certain gifts, talents, skills, and abilities. Everybody can't be a leader. People got all kinds of names. And here's another thing I noticed too. Let's say you're married to somebody or you're dating somebody. My experience has been, and let's say there's a section I'm going to be calling the magic box, where it's almost like astrology, where you got the 12 pies or the 12 houses. In this, you got the 9 boxes, and each box represents a characteristic or personality or disposition or mannerism about what that number represents. Well, I have found that when a person is missing a number in the name, that person who they're often dealing with will have that number that they're missing in their name. It's almost like it fills in the gap. Don't take my word for this. You do this yourself. That's why I love about this. I mean, I was the most skeptical person on the planet when I introduced numerology. Yeah, right. 9, 10 fingers, I got this, and whatever. But let me tell you, this thing captivated me in a way that in my wildest dreams, I never would have imagined. To write books, to be on every national TV show, to have a radio show that went on for a number of years, still making radio and TV appearances and things like that. But that's what this has done for me. And what I'm saying is each and every one of you who happen to be tuning in has a talent, a gift, a skill, and ability. And it's a matter of finding out what it is. So now let me see something. Okay. The name Gia, if I'm not mistaken, the name Gia, if they have it, adds up to an 8. I do believe that's what it is. No, hold on. Excuse me 1 second. GIA. So that's 791. That's 17. That's right. That's 17-8. Well, the name Gia tells me that, first of all, 8 is a powerhouse name. 8 is a number that represents money, power, authority, achievement, recognition. It represents people who are very mature. It represents people who will attract to them Aquarians and Capricorns and Librans, or people born on the 8th, the 17th, the 26th of the month. They will find that the name Gia indicates that if they had to have a motto over their door, it would be, to know me is to love me. Okay. So that's what the name means in part. Don't forget, that's why we ask you to see us, professionals like ourselves. I'm glad that Donna is intrigued. In fact, when I looked at Donna's name right quick, that's 10, 16, 21. So I did it in my head. I mean, I've been doing this so long. I got issues, okay? This is one of them. I enjoy this. So in my mind, if I'm correct, 10, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. The name Donna adds up to 21. So that tells me Donna doesn't look her age, although Donna is an old soul. Donna is ambitious. Donna has a desire to make something of herself. Donna's name says she will draw to her Sagittarians and Pisces, as well as people born on the 3rd, the 12th, the 21st, or the 30th of the month. Career-wise, it tells me she would go into areas connected with government, religion, and the arts. Imagine what a conversation breaker this would make. You meet somebody, they just give you their first name, and bam, they're going to say, who you been talking to? So that's what makes it magical for those of you who've been shy. And I've always been shy, okay? Still shy to a degree. But for those that are shy, let's say you're going on an interview, and the first person, first name is Donna. Okay, you're going to call her Miss So-and-so, of course, but you know right away that the first name Donna is a 3. 3s are very ambitious. 3s are very creative. 3s are very optimistic. 3s love children. 3s love pets and animals, things like that. And maybe in the interview, you can kind of do these things. It'll just help make your life who you talk to, who you want to approach, to hit on, or whatever y'all call that. This makes all the difference in the world. So let's see. Let's see who else I can get up here. Let's see. Addie, I think. Is that the name? Okay. Oh, she said, hi, Mr. Strayhorn. Hi, Addie. How are you? All that. Let me see. I think there's this one says that they have a 6 destiny. Now, her name is Free Bailey, okay? But what happens is, in last week, I was talking about the birthday. The birthday indicates the month, the day, and the year you were born. As I was mentioning, I was doing a radio interview with evangelists, televangelists, whatever they may call them, T.D. Jakes, right? And T.D. Jakes, at that time, when I was on the interview on the radio with him, talked about he had just put out a book called Destiny. Well, each and every one of you have a destiny, and she knows, D-Free Baby, she knows that when she took her month, her day, and year of birth, it added up to a number 6. So, and the destiny, well, really what it means is things you must learn from the womb to the tomb, from the time you get here to the time you reach the other side of the rainbow. And so therefore, for persons who are long range, so if I'm talking to a 10-year-old, 15, 20-year-old, that destiny is so way down the road, okay? But if I'm talking to a person like in more in their 50s, 60s, 70s, things like that, now we're coming to that other side of the rainbow where there's more daylight behind us, in front of us. And therefore, this becomes a meaning. So what has my life served? what purpose has it served, and things like that. So they're more immediate numbers, but she's a 6, and 6 normally wind up being of service. They do well in service related industries, from teaching, nursing, counseling, social worker, business, real estate, banking, and the arts, from singing, art, dance, theater, things of that nature. So that's hers. Now, another person, hers is Addie is a 3. Okay, I think if she did her name correctly, let's see, that's yeah, that's 10. Hold on, let me. I'm doing this in my head. Um, 9, then 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. I think it may add up to a 5, but I'm going to assume Addie adds up to a 3. If so, that means she too may draw to her anyone. And by the way, 3 normally draws people that are youthful to her. Because she has, I see she has a couple of youthful numbers in her name, but she also has maturity numbers too. All of this we will learn if you follow me on Mondays and Wednesdays. And also, I give an online course where I teach how to do this. But I want to make sure, and by the way, they remind me, share, like, subscribe, please, if you want to, only if you want to. I don't like people twisting my arms. If you want to share, beautiful, you should. If you like it, fine. Everybody don't like everything, okay? I don't have a problem with that. Subscribe if you want to keep up, to find out when things are going on, so you can have a sense of what you are about. You are the most important person on the planet. We really need to begin to focus on who we are, not who this celebrity is and what they do. First of all, you don't have their money, you don't have their fame, and trust me, you don't have their problems, to your credit. Okay, so it's all depending on how you look at this. All right, so instead of looking in their backyard, this teaches you to look out under your backyard, under your feet, what you're standing on, your foundation, to build something very important for yourself. But it's going to be a lot of fun along the way, and we're going to do a lot of names. Now, I think we got a Teresa, and she said her destiny is a 7. The destiny, again, for those that are just tuning in to Live with Lloyd, and I'm astronumerologist Lloyd Strayhorn, and like, subscribe, share. Yep. Like, subscribe, share. That's good if you want to. It means that she took the month, the day, and the year she's born. So symbolically, she's in the 7th grade in the school of life. Now, going to school is one thing in an educational institution. Being in the school of life, that's a whole different ballgame. No stretch of the imagination. So the rule is, you can fail in school and get these social promotions or whatever they want to call it. Okay. You can't do that in the school of life. You got to get your act together. You got to determine your destiny, what it means, what purpose it serves. And people with a 7 destiny are your experts in life. They're known for a high level of expertise. Whatever her job or passion is, Teresa, you probably know it inside and out. Very rarely do people question you, say, girl, do you know what you're talking about? Not with a 7 destiny. They don't work like that. They tend to be real experts in terms of what they're doing. 7 people with a 7 destiny, they like to be their own best company. Of course, if she's a Sagittarius 3, born in a year that adds up to a 7, like 1990, for example, because 12 plus 3 is 1 equals 7. Just off the top of my head, creating an imaginary number. I don't know what her real birthday is, but that would give her a 7 destiny. So, but then she would be more of a lively Sagittarius. I mean, a lively 7, because Sagittarius is an outgoing sign. 3 is an outgoing number. And normally 7s are very reserved. And here's how I would interpret that. Let's say theoretically, if that is Teresa's case, that means she can, when she's out and about socializing, she can be the life of the party. When she come home and close that door, no, you can't be knocking on that door because you ain't got nothing else to do. No, you can't be knocking on that door because you saw the light on as you pass by, okay? Driving by, whatever the case is. So that means that outwardly, when she's out and about, knows how to mix and mingles, how to do all the best of it. But basically, when she's home by herself in the privacy of her home, that's what she likes to do. Okay, so let's do, believe me, all this is new. I'm getting a little better. This is D Free. She is December the 28th. So not only is she a Cancer, and I tell people when I read a client, especially for the first time, Here's how I explain it to them as I'll explain it to you. When a person comes to me, 9 times out of 10, they know their zodiac sign. What they don't know is when they come to me, they are a sign and a number as well. So this person is no longer a Cancer. She is a Cancer 1 person because she's born on the 28th day of the month. And my brain says 2 plus 8 is 10 because I still got 2 numbers standing. I got to count. And 1 plus 0 is 1. So she is a Cancer 1 person. So that means, and you will be learning the elements too. And therefore, she is a water sign with a fire number. And we'll be talking about these elements. And I will teach you how to read a person just by knowing the nature of the elements. It almost will seem as if you know them. So if I had to describe her, she's passionate about things and sensitive at the same time. But she's more sensitive first because that rules the water sign of Cancer. But then she's passionate because that means she's a fire number. That means she would be more active, more assertive and whatnot. So this is why all Cancers aren't the same. This is why all Aries aren't assertive. This is why all Geminis aren't two-faced, okay? Because you got to understand, okay, Cancer, Gemini starts about May 21st all the way to about June the 20th, all right? So you got different dates falling on that, under that zodiac sign. Well, it all depends on the date. So when I interviewed Pam Grier, the famous actress, okay, who was born May 26th, she said she liked farming. And I mean, because of the blaxploitation era and the way they would dress her, all kind of sexy and stuff like that, the last thing you would have thought she would have wanted to do was farm. But she is an air sign with an earth number, because 2 plus 6 is 8, and 8 rules the element of earth. Okay? So, I mean, so when you understand these things, you begin to understand your children, your mates, the people you love, even the people you can't stand. At least you get a high tolerance for them too. No wonder I can't stand your butt. All right? It'll be those kinds of things that makes it very, very interesting. I get a little excited, as you see. But if you knew what I knew, you would get excited about this too. All righty? So on Wednesday, we're going to do the Power of the Name Part 2, what's in the name, and it's going to be the Chaldean system. The Chaldean system is a whole different thing. I'll give you the background on that. It is older of the two, this new school. Now, don't forget, there are different forms of numerology. Okay, I've seen Japanese, I've seen South African, I've seen different forms. I got all kinds of books in my collections on numerology subjects. But the most popular here in the West are two primarily. And it's always been, for the most part, for many, many, many years, the Pythagorean, the 1 to 9 method. What is beginning to catch on now is the second one, which is the mystic side of numerology, which is Chaldean, and that goes from 1 to 8. I myself rejected that for a long time, saying, man, you know, that thing only go from 1 to 8. The numbers go from 1 to 9. That's the number I'm going to go with. But you will find that each number serves a purpose. Each school of thought serves a purpose. So when I do have my clients, I explain to them that you may show their notes to somebody, right? And they'll say, well, no, that letter don't fit that number. It all depends on what school that you're going to. So when I teach the more simpler, easier, remember by association, you know, method. But when a person is spending their valuable time and hard-earned money, I go with the original system, Chaldean, and that comes from that part along the Nile known Chaldea, where people of color look like this, okay? And all those bricks that we use to build the pyramids come from that section of Egypt too, from my understanding. Maybe there's some Egyptologists or whatever the case is, but you will find that that's a totally different thing. And when you see it, okay, you will understand. Then you will have a person who has a rarity where their name, whether you're using Pythagoras or whether you're using Chaldean, adds up to the same. So it's going to be an interesting section on this Wednesday. But everybody, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. I'm beginning to learn this. I'm going to have later on they call it something where they help me manage these things and put these things up here. But at any rate, I want to thank everyone very, very much. This has been learned from Lloyd. And let me see how I do this. Okay. Alrighty. I don't know quite how this is working, but anyway, it's okay. It's okay. I'll get this. Anyway, I do want to say thank you. I like to keep it real. Please like, share, subscribe if you want to. If you want to, that's great. Okay. I'm not getting caught up on the numbers. The numbers I'm passionate about are these numbers I'm sharing with you. These numbers will do more than a million numbers coming on your website. You may not make sense, but you will find that if you stick with me and do this, you're going to be just as awesome as this has taught me how to be awesome, how to understand your family, how to understand the people that you come in contact with. And then up the road, we're going to have guests from New Jersey, from New York, from Detroit, from Boston, from Atlanta. And by the way, for those of you who may be in other parts of the states, let's say you got a favorite astrologer, favorite numerologist. Yeah, we're going to do some tarot too. I ain't leaving nobody out. I'm going to have my buddy from New Mexico on Francis Revels Bay, one of the original brothers I met way back in the day at the Tree of Life bookstore. We went on together. He's going to be, in fact, one of my first guests on to kind of bring things then and bring things up to there with the more recent people I've met over the years, like King Simon, Jackie Levine, Kaya French, Brandon Smith. I've just been really, really blessed. And hopefully this will be a blessing to you too. So everybody, I want to thank you very, very much. Oh, and by the way, let me tell you, for those that want to know how to get in touch with me, let me do this, like, share, subscribe. Okay, I'll get all this, okay? First of all, I do have a website. The website is no, that's not it. It's Lloyd-Strayhorn.com. So for the newbies, those that are just joining in, it's LLoyd-Strayhorn, Strayhorn. It is Lloyd-Strayhorn.com. Now, when you get to that site, there's a couple of options that are available to you. One of them is to schedule a session with me if you choose to. I don't twist arms because I don't like my arm being twisted. But if you feel this can be of help, I'm here to serve you. That's my purpose, and I enjoy this. Secondly, I have a free monthly newsletter that comes out that my partner in Detroit, Kaya French, and I do each and every month. So we're going to be presenting August very soon because August is technically right around the corner on Sunday, okay? So we're going to be doing that for you. That's absolutely free. All you got to do is go to Lloyd-Strayhorn.com, scroll down, okay? Sign up for the free monthly newsletter. You can give your birthday, but you got to give your email because that's the only way we can send you the free monthly newsletter, okay? But give your birth, that'll help, just in case you got questions or whatever. Then when you go further down, you'll see an image of my online courses. I have 2 online courses that you can learn how to do this. And in fact, you can own the course when you sign up for it. The first course is called Learn from Lloyd, How to Read a Person Like a Book. It is for beginners, for people that says, hey, I'm just seeing this for the first time. It's interesting. Well, if you want to check it out, go there, sign up. Then I have another course called Learn from Lloyd, the next step in numerology, which is intermediate and advanced. It deals with the Chaldean system and a whole lot more. And I got to give one of my favorite students, author, who will be a guest on, Jackie Levine. Jackie Levine was the one who, that sister is awesome when it comes to computers. So if y'all need something set up on an online course, I would suggest y'all use her services. I'm not going to front. I mean, she makes mine look really good, okay? So I thank her for that. King Simon, I got to thank him too, because he brought me 21st Century with, in fact, introduced me to the platform I'm on now. So I thank him very much for that. But yeah, so sign up for the session, sign up for the free monthly newsletter, sign up for the classes. And these are the books. Also, these are the books you can order. This is like the Bible, Numbers in You. This is one of the books I published years ago that's still selling, okay? Now, if you sign up for the course, this is a book that I have you get. It's called Lloyd's Numbers in You Workbook. And anybody who wants to do this, so you don't have to get a thick book like this, okay? You could, but you can get a book like this, all righty? Where it teaches you it's kind of like a primer. It kind of teaches you through the basics to get you understanding of what the numbers mean, how they work, numbers that are harmonious, numbers that are in relationship to astrology. Then I wrote this strictly for the ladies, okay? Lloyd's Numbers in You Relationship Guide, as I call it, the cosmic blueprint to happiness and joy, all righty? So that's where when you're meeting somebody, you know whether to go to the nearest exit or I'll stick around and see what this is about. Okay. So this is for the ladies and the guys too. Okay. Guys be looking for ladies too, qualified ladies. And finally, this is my other book, uh, Lloyd's Book of Numbers, a numerology guide for the 21st century and beyond. It's simply an extension of this one, okay? It's an updated version with a lot of information, personalities from Jay-Z and Beyonce and I mean, a whole lot of people. Michael Jackson, how the seven followed him, and little things like that you'll see. Also, each state has a zodiac sign. You'll learn about the United States, which ones are Aries, which ones are this, which one is that. So if you want to have fun, as I've learned to have fun. Now, I will say this in closing. This appears to be very simple, saying I can count from 1 to 9. But I defy anybody to do this and not be mesmerized as I have, to not be amazed as I continue to be. And I've been doing this for more than a New York minute, trust me. So everybody, I want to thank you very, very much. This has been a pleasure. Okay, hold on. Let me see something. Did I get this? Okay, this has been a pleasure. And I want everybody to know that numerology is the joy of learning and the joy of enlightenment, everybody. So I want you to take care, and I look forward to seeing you on Wednesday at this time.